Welcome to the Grand Review. This is the show that's all about movie news and reviews. I'm your host, the Tai Chi toddler, Garrett Ray. And joining me, as always, it's the Jiu-Jitsu Junior, Andy Delia.
Thanks. Junior.
Yeah,
more like senior.
I was going to say Mai Tai Man-Child, but I thought that might be offensive.
No, that one's good for you.
Okay, well, then let's go with Mai Tai Man-Child because I thought it was funnier.
I am the... They even mentioned in the movie, like, the same thing as Kung Fu Panda Shifu.
Oh, yeah. I don't have a pun for that. So let's just move on. If you've never joined us on the show, basically, here's how it works. We're going to do a spoiler-free review of this week's movie up front, and then we'll get into spoilers. Don't worry. We'll let you know when that's happening, and then we'll get into news after that. So there's time codes down in the show notes. You can jump around wherever you want. But this week, we are going to start it off by talking about Karate Kid Legends. So it's basically a movie about a karate kid. Andy, your thoughts, please.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't great, and it wasn't, like, honestly, it's a bad movie. But I still enjoy it because it's the Karate Kid, and it does have links to, like, the originals. And I still have kind of a little bit of nostalgia for that. Mm-hmm. You know, the good thing for this film is it's super short.
Yeah, it's a total of
an hour and 35 minutes.
Yeah,
like the credits started at an hour 25.
Yep. It is short. I'll definitely.
And I mean, the story's not bad, but kind of like Hannah said the night that we watched this, and she's dead on. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. Yeah. They all have the same story. They all have the same plot. And they don't really deviate from that. And I don't know if it's just like that's the recipe for success for these things. And it probably is. But if you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
But did it dissuade me from disliking this film? No. And after like all the stuff I had read over the weekend leading up to us watching it Sunday night, I was really like, I was expecting something a lot more horrible than
so
what
you
I
went
saw.
in with low expectations.
Yeah, I did. And that's probably why I was like, yeah, it's okay. Do I want to see it again? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you were laughing more than I was during the film, and I was actually, because I know...
Well, yeah, a guy got kicked in the balls. It was hilarious.
You didn't want to see this at all. I know that.
I didn't care to. Like, I wasn't against it. I just didn't care. And I think that helped me enjoy it more. It's... Okay. I want to start this section with a quote from Thomas Edison. He said, and this is, there's several different ways this has been quoting, but basically, I have not failed. I've found 10,000 ways that don't work. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about that quote. I don't know why, but it popped into my head. Now, Karate Kid Legends is a movie that is attempting to be a sequel to the original trilogy, a sequel to the 2010 reboot, and a sequel to Cobra Kai, the YouTube turned Netflix original series. And in that regard, they have not failed. They have found 3 ways that don't work. Because
I mean, do we even really want to mention the Hillary Swank one?
It's there. It's in the back. You know, but it's like all the other ones. You know, it's bad, but it's if you've seen one, you've seen them all. It's the same deal. Right. This one though, I think that it probably would have been a better movie, but it has been edited and cut to all heck. I think that I have reasons that I'll get into in spoilers. I think that this movie was taken, recut, chopped down, and just completely flayed open to get rid of anything and everything that would make it any longer, simply because they didn't have faith in it. And I think that there's enough stuff in there that's really likable. I like the characters. The main kid is super charming, and obviously...
Yeah, Ben Wang's actually, like, this is the first thing I've seen him in. Mm-hmm. I know he's another kind of Disney brat.
Oh, was he?
From what I understand, like, that's what the kids here at the theater told me. And I know he's got something coming up that's going to be a lot more challenging in the fall called The Long Walk.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's based on a Stephen King novel?
Yeah. It's Hunger Games, but a little bit more amped up. And the trailer is online, and I think I put it on Ballerina for this week, so you'll probably see that when we watch it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's coming.
Finally.
I can't see anything that he was in that was necessarily a... Oh, okay, so he was in American Born Chinese on Disney. But he's done other stuff. He was in the Mean Girls reboot. No, he's just a Chinese person who's American born. Don't make it a thing. Look, just because you see things through a white point of view doesn't mean... No,
I see things as Disney point of view, and it's probably
that's
racist.
Definitely racist. Yeah, totally agree. Those monkeys jumping up and down on the trampoline with a coat on, just throwing darts at a board, definitely are not taking into account how to not be... inclusive is the term I like to use, where it's like, oh, we're inclusive. I'm like, does that just mean excluding white people? And they're like, yeah, basically. I'm like, all right. But yeah, so funny you should say the Hunger Games, because he also is going to be in the Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping. He's making a run for it right now.
He's got a contract with Lionsgate now.
Apparently
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Not for him, but maybe for Lionsgate.
At least he picked like the right properties to go with Lionsgate, because Mark Hamill's the bad guy in The Long Walk. I know that.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. And he wears like sunglasses the entire time. And he kind of made fun of that when I saw the presentation.
Oh, did he really?
In Vegas, yeah.
Maybe it's because he's too high on his own self-importance to not have bloodshot eyes.
Oh, really? Is that?
Oh my gosh, Mark Hamill's one of the most like I love Star Wars, and reading Mark Hamill's Twitter makes me hate Star Wars. Like
really?
He's such a staunch leftist who just likes to like rag on people as much as possible, even when it's not even a controversial thing. If it's not exactly what he thinks, he just like, bleh! It's awful. It's so annoying.
See, because I gave him credit for being in Big Bang Theory. I really liked him in that.
I'm gonna give you an honest response to that, Andy. Every time you bring up the Big Bang Theory and say you give respect to people for that, you lose a bit of credibility on the internet. People hate the Big Bang Theory.
Really?
Yeah. No, it's a huge show. People love the show, but like now the view on it has turned. Because it's one of those. Because the criticism is that it's trying to say it's a show for smart people while still being for dummies. And I'm like, yeah, that's television. Duh.
Yeah. Well, I kind of expect that.
Yeah.
I've gotten to enjoy the offshoots of that. Like, I really enjoyed Young Sheldon, especially the last part of it. I thought it was very. I endearing to me.
I've not seen any of Young Sheldon, and I have seen some episodes of Big Bang Theory, but it just never really caught my attention. Like, I'll watch clips when they come up on Facebook. That's most of where I've seen stuff from. And it's like, this is fine, but it is a laugh track comedy, like in that way, that just never caught me in the same way that like Parks and Rec did, for instance, or 30 Rock. I love 30 Rock.
See, I need to see 30 Rock. That's when everybody keeps telling me I need to see that, and I need to just sit down and start watching that.
It's kind of a rough start, but it's not as rough as like The Office started, and like it's much more polished from episode one.
I thought The Office was okay. My problem with that is I like the British version of that a lot more than I do the American version. Yeah. So that's where I'm kind of tainted on that. Whereas most people probably have never even seen the British one. So
yeah, I think I tried to watch it, and I didn't like either version when I first started. So then eventually I got worn down into watching the American version, but never was like super gung ho for it. But what does it say about the Karate Kid Legends that we're talking about literally anything else? I think. From a cinematography standpoint, it looks nice. There's not really any sound issues except for like one line that I was like, ooh, that was kind of a rough ADR. And the performances overall are serviceable. I'm not going to say anyone gives a Oscar-winning performance in this. It's pretty... like the characters are not necessarily believable in every line delivery, but they're also not grating or completely unbelievable in any way. So it kind of, it's I'd say above middle of the road, but not at great,
Right.
But as far as like from looking at it as a holistic piece, that's not the right word. Looking at it as the entirety of itself. Is this a good movie? No, it's bad. It's bad mainly because the pacing and some of the music choice and the The story that it's trying to tell, it trips over itself in 19 different ways and does nothing with any of it. And so by the end, you're just kind of like, oh yeah, okay. And also like they don't commit to a visual style. It keeps like throwing in a little something, but then doesn't commit to it very much for like almost panels of stuff, almost kind of at the beginning. But then it switches to this like showing the 5 boroughs fights. It's like, oh, here's fight one, blah, and it looks like a YouTube video,
right?
Which if they had gone all in on that, and like, you know, this is what people are used to. This is what people watch now when they're looking at stories of young guys, you know, on YouTube or whatever. Like that, commit to it, and it's fine.
Right.
But they don't commit. It's kind of middle of the road. It just pops up for a single establishing shot, and then it's like, bye. Okay, bye. Just don't. If you didn't like it, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna do it again. Not for another 20 minutes. Okay, bye. Okay.
Yeah, but even putting Jackie Chan in this really doesn't do much for it, other than set up like the main character a little bit. But
yeah.
Was he really needed in this at all?
I have a different opinion on that.
Oh,
I think Daniel LaRusso was completely unnecessary. If you wrote him out of the script, nothing changes. I think he serves absolutely no purpose in the whole movie. And if you know, have you seen Cobra Kai?
Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't
thought
seen
you said
the last.
You loved it.
I liked it just because it was entertaining, and actually the kids in that aren't bad at all. Like they're.
Yeah, there's one
more
kid that
entertaining
really
than the
grated on me
adults.
in that show. I can't remember who it was, but for the most part, I agree with you. Yeah, but Daniel is like a character in that show with flaws and stuff, and in this, he's just and I'm going to quote a review I watched earlier today after I'd made my mind up about this, but he's just kind of an affable guy. Who shows up and does nothing.
Right, and he doesn't show up until like 3/4 of the way through the movie either.
He's shoehorned in there.
Is that a spoiler?
No, no,
because the trailer made it seem like he was in like the entire thing.
Yeah, it's the trailer sets it up as though like, hey, you know, there's this one kid who is at the intersection of these different families and the branches of the martial arts and all that stuff, and it's everyone comes together for this thing, and the movie's just kind of like, oh yeah, by the way, at the end, that thing we promised in the trailer, sure, why not?
Right.
Like that's how it feels.
Well, because even that one scene that was in the trailer with him like tying the bandana around the kid's head and saying, "Well, 2 branches, 1 tree." Mm-hmm. And the movie kept going along, and I was like, was that just something just for the thing?
Yeah, so that's definitely something in spoilers I'm going to get into in depth, because I was sitting there going, wait a second, while we were watching the movie.
Okay.
And so, yeah, well, like that is a spoiler, so
okay.
Not what you said, but because it's not in the movie, so you can't spoil it. but
well,
some
actually,
stuff
the scene
around
is
that I would be spoiling. Yes, but also no. But yeah, this I like the idea of the Han family and the Miyagi family having this history, and a kid bringing them together, and the idea of these, you know, 2 branches of the same tree is so interesting, and I think could have been really emotionally impactful. But this movie takes every chance it can, especially with music choice and the edits, to undercut any emotional weight that it could have. It actively sabotages its own ability to connect with you in a way where you care most of the time. And it's not that it, like, there's so much it's doing competently, but then the edit just goes like and screws everything up, and it drives me up the wall with this. And so, you know, it's and Hannah said something. She goes, in the last one, it was a guy from America moves to China, and this one is just a guy from China moves to America. Do something else. And I was like, yeah, maybe. But like, you know, I think in the first one too, Daniel moves to a new area, and that's
right.
That's how it starts. So and of course you're continuing the legacy. Hold your applause. Of the of that sort of character. It's a very basic setup for a story, and it works.
Right. Because that's, like we said, there's nothing different than any one of these other films that you've seen throughout this entire series,
except that it was edited by some sort of
monkey.
a monkey who is on Adderall,
who is
jumping on a trampoline. It was edited by someone who just came in the middle of the night and said, "All right, how much shorter can I make this?" Like that's what it does, and it is it is frustrating in that sense because I think there was a good movie in there somewhere. Not in the writing of Daniel into this movie. This should have been just a follow up to 2010's Karate Kid, and then it would have totally worked. But yeah, I had fun. I do want to say that. I didn't have a terrible time. But I could not.
And Jessica was like, this was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, really? She actually kind of liked it.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, I weirdly have a soft spot for it, mainly because I like the dad. I think he's a fun character. Right. This washed up old boxer who also
Joshua Jackson too.
Yes, yeah. What is he from?
Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek. That's right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time.
There's a couple other movies that I've seen. Cruel Intentions, he was in, and I think he was in a movie called Gossip as well with Eric Bogosian.
You're correct.
He's in that for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, he hasn't been in a movie for 10 years. The last thing he did was Sky, an English-language French-German drama film written and directed by Fabien Berthold. Yes. Stars Diane Kruger.
Wow.
And Norman Reedus. And Lena Dunham. Ugh, gross. Anyway.
No, really, what's your opinion on Lena Dunham?
Oh, she sucks.
Any particular reason that you have a hatred for her? I'm just curious.
Same reason I don't like Mark Hamill. It really is that. Like that and the stuff that she's made, I've watched like clips of it and I'm just like, this is debauchery being praised, and I can't stand behind that. But yeah, her Twitter account will do it to you. I'm telling you, man, don't go on Twitter. I regret ever downloading it. But now I'm stuck in it like a crackhead. But I like Joshua Jackson in this. Is his performance especially is one where I'm like, I don't know if I buy every line delivery, but you're enjoyable to watch, so I'm on board. Fine, Yeah, and I want to say if your kids like martial arts, they'll get a lot out of this movie, but also maybe just go watch The Karate Kid. The first one. Or the second one. Or you know what? You could watch the 2010 reboot. And that would be the same as well. Or you could just pull up on Netflix, the entirety of Cobra Kai. That'll keep your little brats entertained for tens of hours. There's multiple seasons. This will only do it for 95 minutes. So plop your little crotch goblins down in front of the TV and turn on Netflix and just skip this one.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a terrible review. I just wanted to say crotch goblins because I think it's funny. I'm sure Drew's supposed to be seeing it today with his mom, and I think he'll have fun.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Yeah, and it's not bad for that. It's just not a good movie.
Because Drew likes to say that he watches like good movies.
Well, Drew has learned how to use the English language to communicate an idea he believes in, and I respect that.
Until he thinks like Garfield the movie is just
what
or Trap.
No, sorry, Drew, but
I mean at least Drop he really liked, but Drop wasn't horrible. Yeah. But or the other one, Borderlands, he loves like throwing that in my face.
Drew, I love you to death, but I'm gonna speak directly to you, bud. Borderlands bad. Borderlands real bad.
Yeah.
You awesome. Borderlands not awesome. See the difference? Anyway, so I don't know. Should I cut that out?
No. No, because Borderlands is an awful film.
But yeah, all right. Well, you want to get into spoilers then?
Yeah.
Not that there's a whole lot we can spoil.
No, there isn't.
So, biggest disappointment of the entire movie. Karate Kid 2, both of the major fights, like the instigating incident and the finishing fight in that movie, end with someone honking the other person's nose, and that does not happen at the end of this movie. I really thought it was gonna.
I thought it was going to as well.
Okay, so I'm not alone.
Especially when the film starts off with the scene from the second one.
Right.
And I was kind of like, ooh, this is optimistic. Because like the second one is really my favorite out of the series. I really enjoyed that one.
It's also the one with the least karate.
Yeah, but like the whole thing about that was I really dug the backstory for Miyagi.
Yeah. No, I'm not arguing with you. It's good.
I thought it was just the right way to go for that, since the whole one was more Daniel's story, and then the second one needed to be a little bit more of him as the mentor and what he's gone through. And I think it did a really good job with that. And so when this one opens up with the scene in the Miyagi family dojo, and although I just like they cut the main part of that scene out where he goes, rule number 1, only use in self-defense. Rule number 2, go back and learn rule number 1. And I always thought that was great. And I'm like, they cut that? Why?
Well, they cut everything, Andy. That's the thing.
I know.
The main theme of this movie is, can we get away without it? Drop it. Which is actually good editing practice up until a certain point. But I'll get to that.
Right.
So tell me if you remember this, because I can't remember the entirety of that scene from the second one. They cut away from Pat Morata's face when he starts saying, we learned from the Han family, and then the Miyagi's brought stuff back to here. Was that in the second one, the mention of the Han family, or is that added here?
That's added here.
Okay.
That was not.
That's what I thought. I thought like
that wasn't in the. They did kind of a sneaky little job of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a retcon for sure. Not a horrible one, but also, what are the odds that it happens again in China with Mr. Han like 30 years later? What's up with that? They just do the same thing?
I just thought that Jackie Chan was a lot better in the Will Smith son one than he was in this.
Well, again, he's just an affable guy. Like both of the mentors in this are not... Okay. They're not struggling with anything.
No, they're not.
And so there's no human element to them. They're just a pawn.
Right. And honestly, like the main goofball that they're going after, this kid that wins like the 5 borough story, he is nothing compared to like William Zabka was in the original either.
Right, yeah.
Like, a lot of the bad guys throughout the other films were menacing, real like tough characters.
Yeah.
Even, Zabka's character in the original, even though he was like a valley kid, but he knew how to fight and he knew how to like take somebody out.
Yeah.
And even the second one, where the fight was to the death, the guy was very serious about ending Daniel LaRusso's life.
Right.
And then the third one,
the audience fights to stay awake.
In the third one, yes, I would agree with that.
Is that the Hillary Swank one?
No.
Okay, sorry.
There's a
it's
third
just a little
one
too early.
The third one is when they bring Martin Cove back from the first one. He's disgraced, and he goes to his mentor, and they bring out this bad boy of karate kid who he's actually a tough kid.
Yeah.
And looks to destroy Daniel LaRusso. Like, that's the whole mission. And then, then there's the Hillary Swank one that nobody saw. And then there's Cobra Kai. So the villain in this is just so goofy and stupid.
I think
it's hard to take him very seriously as like this menacing, tough figure.
Yeah.
Even after he beats up Ben Wang once, which wasn't all that impressive.
Well, he did it with his hands in his pockets, though.
The funny part about how that whole thing plays out is Ben Wang gets his butt kicked by this guy. 10 minutes later, he's beating up collection agents that are
right. 3 grown men.
So, did he like learn karate that fast to take on 3 hoods that literally should have beaten him to a pulp?
Well, I have a theory. It's not a good one, but I have a theory about this. Right before that, he opened the side of the scooter that had messed up earlier when he went out with whatever her name is. Mia. I also get very amped up when I smell gasoline because I grew up riding dirt bikes, and that smell makes you feel like you can punch a hole through a wall. So my guess is just that he smelled some gas and was like, yeah, baby! And then beat up 3 guys and then didn't have gasoline for the rest of the fights. That's why he lost. I'm telling you, sniff gasoline. That is a grand review, official advice column.
No,
I'm kidding. Don't sniff gasoline, Drew. Don't sniff gasoline. But yeah, okay. So the 2 branches, 1 tree thing featured very heavily in the trailer. Makes you think, oh, there's going to be this important connection, and that's going to be like the emotional center of this movie. And I really was looking forward to that. But the first time it gets mentioned in this movie is after both of the mentors are beating Ben up, and Lee. They're beating Lee up, and Lee he's on the ground and he goes, "What happened to 2 branches, 1 tree?" I'm like, good question, Li Fong. What did happen to that? And why didn't it come before you mentioned it? Because no one has said a dadgum thing about it at this point in the movie, and I caught it. I caught you. I got you.
Well, he even had a name before Lee, like his mom kept referring to as Shinman.
Yeah, it's I can't remember. Maybe it's not listed in the
so he's just listed as Li Fong.
Maybe she's calling him son or something like that. I don't speak Mandarin, so I don't know. But yeah, Xiao Li, is that what it called? Something like that. Anyway,
I think
I can't remember, and no one else will remember anything about this movie in about 6 days. So, but it really was like at that point, I turned to Hannah and I went, "They've chopped this up.
Yeah,
they've chopped this up like chop suey."
So did they get like an NYU film student to?
I don't know if they had a bunch of footage that didn't work and they had to work around it, or if there was some mandate to cut down. But like, is the scene where Daniel hands him? Okay, so this is the other problem. Montage. Oh, the montage! I tell you what. They love them a montage, and every time they do a montage, they ruin the movie. So for instance, there is the conversation happening between Jackie Chan and Ming-Na Wen. By the way, completely underusing Ming-Na Wen. You get Mulan, and you don't have her kick anyone's butt, or at least have an emotional scene. What are you doing? I've met her and made her laugh. It was the highlight of that year. But I, even if it was, my wife swears it was a courtesy laugh. I don't think it was, but that may just be me self-editorializing my own history. But there's the scene where she's like, so we're supposed to let him die, like let him fight, let him die, just like what happened to his brother. But it's got like pop music behind it, and they're cutting back and forth to him training. But like instead of having a scene where, he comes home and Li Fong's not there, he's out still training or out with me or whatever, and she confronts her brother with, "You can't do this. You're going to make me lose the only son I have left." Like that should be an emotionally weighty thing, but they're so afraid that they're going to lose the audience's attention that they don't do it. They just throw it in. I have a feeling there's a 4-page scene of those characters that we will never see. And if they wrote it this way, I'm embarrassed for them. I know I'm taking very hard stances on this, but you have that moment. Then you have like when okay, so when Li Fong is supposedly having a moment where he's really down because Mia's dad gets beat up and sent to the hospital by a dirty hit in a boxing match.
Yeah, which kind of reminds me more of like the movie Gladiator, not the Russell Crowe. There's another film called Gladiator with Cuba Gooding Jr. that I actually kind of like.
I've seen bits of that one.
Because it's street boxing.
Yeah.
And the Hispanic kid in that gets beat up by a character called Black Death. And he cheats. And he puts
You're telling me the Black Death doesn't play fair?
And
it didn't in the Middle Ages either, I tell you what. The bubonic plague was no joke.
Okay.
Ooh, that's right. I know history, Andy. You can't say I don't because I just proved it. Yeah, but the guy goes down and he freezes just like he did when his brother died. And then he runs off. And then they have a montage, and it's supposed to be him feeling like he failed again. He's made this decision. He's gotten someone hurt. He's lost the girl that he's cares about because he's gotten her dad nearly killed. Now, what music would you put under that?
Like very sad, sorrowful, kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Like something soulful.
Now, how about something? And this is what happened in the edit. They were watching it, and they saw that scene, and they had something underneath that was like,
yeah, it sounds like Japanese like folk music,
and then
or Chinese. Sorry, I got even the wrong country.
And then a monkey ran in and went, rainbows, lollipops, and sunshine, and then said, put it in there, and then ran out the door and did another line of cocaine in the hallway, and and then came back in 5 minutes later and went, hey, it'd be really great. Let's cut out the scene that establishes the two branches thing. I'm a monkey, woo! And that's how this whole edit feels. Like they cut out so much stuff that would have made it a movie, and now it feels like a collection of music videos interrupted by a scene here and there.
Right.
There's no development of his friendship with Alan.
So it's generally made for this generation because that's kind of what they're used to.
I guess so, but like, look, I understand the need to, or the feeling that you need to cater to the poor attention span of the masses. Totally understand.
Yeah, that's why TikTok is so popular. Right.
Idiots love it. And I'm on TikTok, but
that makes sense.
Right. But I also think that there is the film is an art form, as much as these are commercial products, they are. It is an art form. And even the Karate Kid, I think, deserves to have room to breathe in its scenes. And this really doesn't allow that to happen. And and it made me sad because I like the characters enough that even if they're not, like I said, not Oscar-winning performances, but they're likable. And I wanted them to have the room to be characters, not just little guys being moved around in this play that a child's putting together in between running and grabbing more goldfish, which is what this feels like. He comes back from the goldfish and is like, I forgot what I was doing. Rainbows, lollipops. Like it's a frustrating experience in that way because it could have been a lot, and I think that there could have been room to have Han and LaRusso both, have a connection to this kid. And like the setup for that is not necessarily bad. It's a retcon, but okay, I can get on board with it. But you also you didn't have to reuse that scene from number 2. You could have shot something new.
I think they did that to appeal for people to my age that are going to go see this and have some frame of relevance to
sure.
What you're going to see is drawing back to the original because you're going to see Daniel LaRusso again eventually. And the whole movie, I was like, when the hell is he coming in?
Yeah. What if, because, I've said in the past, I don't like to just bash something. I like to maybe offer up, like, here's maybe a different way it could work. And then people can make their own decision on whether or not I'm an idiot. I am, but they can make their own decision on it. But if we had started with Daniel at the Miyagi family dojo, like he'd gone to visit because he was, feeling like he'd lost purpose or something.
I agree. That would have been more effective.
That, and then Mr. Han shows up and he says, I come here once a year to pay respect to my friend. And that's how they meet. And then you go into, while they're talking or whatever, you introduce Li Fong and he, same setup for there. She doesn't want him to fight. They're moving to New York, new town, blah, 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 blah. All of that can stay the same, but then because you've already established a relationship between Han and Daniel at the beginning, connected by Mr. Miyagi, then you get when Han comes to get help from Daniel, it means something to Daniel,
right?
It's not just this one scene throwaway, like you'll be there, okay, I'll see you later. Like that didn't make any sense. Is that something that Mr. Miyagi did with him?
It wasn't explained very well.
It's so weird. He just says, yeah, you'll show up. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're Jackie Chan and I'll do whatever you say, Sensei. But that's not...
Yeah, I will see you in the Big Apple.
Yeah. I don't know.
So the owner, because of Grand Avenue, talking to him on Monday, and he was like, "Well, we had a great weekend." And I said, "Yeah, but Karate Kid didn't quite do what I hoped it would."
Yeah, it's underperformed.
The nostalgia factor has been running wild lately with films. Like, look at last summer with Twisters.
Yeah.
Of course that.
Well, also it had a fire tornado, so it was worth watching.
I hate that movie.
I know you do.
And then meanwhile, we're bringing it back for like the drive-in in July.
Woo!
And that was my call.
Wow. Andy, I mean this genuinely. That's very big of you because I know you hate it.
Well, I'm as big as you are.
Well,
And just because I don't like it, I don't begrudge other people for liking it. Well,
right, yeah.
Maybe I do actually, but
it's okay. I feel the same way about Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, but I was like, I look at it from a business standpoint. Like that film, honestly, if we hadn't pulled the plug on it when we did, we probably still would have played it all the way up to like November.
Really?
And it still would have done miraculous business.
That's crazy.
So knowing that and knowing like I wanted to do our drive-in to be Jaws because of the 50th anniversary, and I got a whole bunch of merch I need to sell too.
Oh, fun.
But Universal said no because they're re-releasing it in theaters at the end of August. So I went with the second choice I had was, well, let's do Twisters. Yeah. And we had, like, Maria and I came up with like 5 different titles, and that's the one actually I circled on the piece of paper and it stuck to a Post-it note on my desk, and that's the one I went with.
Yeah.
So
I think that this one is not doing well because of bad word of mouth. Primarily.
Yeah, like, and that's I try not to read the reviews.
Yeah, before especially before we do this, I try not to as well. But
because I don't want to be influenced by somebody else's opinion.
Yeah,
sometimes I know the reviews are going to be right. In this case, I was hoping that they would be wrong, and to some extent, they kind of were. Like, yeah, it's a bad film, but is it enjoyable? Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of those ones that kind of sits in that gray area between the 4 options we've given ourselves and cannot deviate from. It's okay.
But the other thing is, am I going to watch it again?
No.
Probably not.
No, because it's bad.
Right.
Like as a movie, it's not a horrible entertainment product, but it is an entertainment product, not a movie in the sense of the art form. But that also seems like I'm discounting a lot of the good work that was done on it. Like, there's some really good cinematography. The audio is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever tried to capture dialogue in New York City. I have. I would rather shove a cactus up both of my nostrils and swirl it around in my brain than try to do that again.
I did like the fact that the tournament this time took place around, like, it's called the Five Boroughs Tournament for a reason.
Yeah.
And they picked like these different locations and set up, makeshift sparring spots, for lack of a better word. And the last one is on top of a roof at a helipad, which is kind of cool, actually.
That's pretty cool. I love this. Yeah, like that. There's that stuff that, like, artistically is like, ooh, neat.
Your main villain is a goof.
Do you think it's maybe just because we don't understand what is cool now that we think he's a ridiculous idiot? I mean, he's wearing the baggy clothes, which makes me think, oh, you're just a slob. But that's just the style now, is look like a slob and you look cool. And also he's got the slick back hair.
The ponytail.
Yeah.
The earring.
To me, having, been a kid who had long hair that he straightened down in front of his eye with a 30 Days Grace t-shirt, I can look back now and go like, that was an embarrassing time. And I think this kid will as well. Or, gosh, I hope most of these kids look back and go, I should change myself. But not in the movie, just in general. This generation is a mess. Anyway, I'm talking about mine and the ones after me. And also the ones before me. Basically, humans are a mess. But there, now I've offended everyone.
Wait, the cynical part of you really I thought I was bad. But you got me beat today.
Hey, now hold on. Is it cynical or is it biblical? Because all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. We're born with a sin nature. We all do stupid stuff, and we all dress like idiots when we're teenagers. I don't think there's anyone who won't look back at least one outfit from when they were a teenager and go, I needed some Jesus.
No.
I mean, what, you had the earring and mullet going on at one point, right?
Well, that was in my 20s. Like my early
Really?
Yeah, my early to mid 20s.
So it was cool because it wasn't your teenage
Right.
years.
I had 2 earrings. I had a long ponytail. And I played in a band too, so that I had to kind of look there. The only thing I was missing at the time were tattoos. I didn't get my first tattoo until I was 40.
Really?
Right.
I still don't have any. I mean, unless you count the tramp stamp, but that's not. What?
Because generally, I looked at myself as I'm a wuss. I don't like pain. I don't want to inflict pain on me purposefully.
I don't like getting shots. Why would I want you to give me 40,000 a second?
Right. But then here's the thing: at a certain point, I really like these reality shows that were like LA Ink and all these tattoo artists and ink masters, and I kind of dig that. I like seeing artwork.
Sure, yeah.
Regardless if it's on the skin or on canvas. And I was like, I see these nerdy guys, like even nerdier than you, Garrett, getting like full back.
Whoa. That's not possible, and you know it.
Getting like full back pieces. And I'm like, if they can sit there and not flinch, I can get something about this, size of my fist on my shoulder, and I'm sure I'll be fine. And luckily, like I went to a guy in Bridge City, Texas, that was recommended to me by the kids at the theater I worked at there, because they knew more than I did, of course, when it come to that. And the guy was super cool, and he was really nice, and made me very at ease. And
yeah,
I had a great experience with that. Now I want more.
My wife has tattoos. I do not, and I don't
Hannah
think
has tattoos.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's got one on her wrist. She's got one across her back, and then she's got one on her upper leg that's like a big lion. It's like the size of my head.
Wow.
Yeah, she's tougher than I am because I'm absolutely not going to go and be like, hello, I'd like to give you several $100s so you can stab me repeatedly. Let's do it.
At least it's not like the Thai method where it's like bamboo with needles. Have you seen like those?
It takes forever.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if I could do that. Those things are excruciating. To me, it looks like that. And I'm like, no, the gun like zapping me a lot. I can deal with that.
Yeah, it's at least fast.
Right.
Speaking of excruciating, I'm sure Lionsgate feels that way about the Karate Kid because
it wasn't
right now,
Lionsgate that put it out.
Not Lionsgate, sorry.
Sony.
So 47.7 million take is what they have so far off of a $45 million budget. It's made back its production budget, but not its advertising budget. It looks like
they're probably going to bank on that on the back end of that with home video and streaming.
Yeah, but I also think that this might hamstring the ability for this story to continue with this Karate Kid, which is a shame because I think he's kind of the best part of the movie.
Well, at least with Sony will really pick some winners. They're almost getting to be like Lionsgate Jr.
I don't know why,
because
this keeps happening. Why do they keep making bad
summer
movies?
they kept last year they banked on 2 films to like make them profitability, and they both failed miserably. The Garfield movie was the first one, and even I thought this has a shot until opening weekend.
I mean, they did release Kraven the Hunter, which we both know is a cinematic masterpiece.
That was the second one.
Was that actually the second one they were banking on?
Yes.
Morons!
After pushing it around for over a year and releasing it at the dead spot right before Christmas when nobody was going to see that thing. And I was right. Nobody except you, Garrett. You were I know it's on Netflix now. I still have yet to sit down and watch that thing because I don't know if I could do it with a straight face.
It's fantastic. It's
because I may have to just watch that with, like, invite you over to my house, we'll have dinner, and then I'll watch that with you. Because I can't
pop a beer, man. It's fun.
Jessica will, I'm sure, stare at me the whole time going, you made me watch this? Seriously?
Yeah.
Why?
Because...
And I was like, because you make me watch 90 Day Fiancé.
Fair enough. It's a fascinating study of how not to do ADR. The entirety of Kraven the Hunter is how to not replace dialogue in movies. That's the masterclass because it's so bad.
So with that, I'm looking like Aaron Taylor Johnson now is in 28 Years Later coming out in 2 weeks. So he'll redeem himself in my eyes, at least with that film.
Unless it sucks.
I don't think it's...
No, it's probably not going to.
If that movie sucks, I'm going to be so disappointed because Danny Boyle's back as the director. I really like him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he did the second one, the 28 weeks later, but he did 28 days later, which I still think is the closest thing to like the best zombie film made, other than the stuff that George Romero did.
Yeah.
I have definitely a love for the stuff that George Romero did because I'm from Pittsburgh. I have to. Not because I have to.
He's our state bird.
Almost. And, going to... It was sad that he didn't make Land of the Dead in Pittsburgh. Like, he had to film it in Canada, and there are some shots put in of Pittsburgh to make it look like it was filmed there. But the premiere was in Pittsburgh, and I paid like big money to go to that premiere.
Yeah,
which was very cool. But those films are the closest I think that any zombie film has gotten, outside of maybe Zombieland, because I do like those.
Zombieland
but they're
is
not
fun. They're not great, but they're fun.
They're in a different vein than like they're not as serious as And I love the fact that 28 days later that it's the animal rights activists that actually unleash this plague. It's just freaking awesome.
I always knew they'd be the end of us.
So and I'm not spoiling anything for you. Like, there's still a rest. And also, Danny Boyle knew how to set up that first one, just like Romero's film. The zombies are secondary. It's all about tensions between the human characters and the fights that they're going through. And that's what he focused on, just like Romero did in his films.
Yeah. That's I'm excited to watch those. I'm trying to find a way to like stream them on my headset like I'm in a movie theater because I'm a nerd and I want to like play around with
I can hook up my Apple TV box. I got them both. So I bought them because I didn't know when they'd be back in. Now they're kind of putting them back in to kind of hype up the new film.
Weird, because normally they'll pull the previous ones right before the new one comes out, so people have to buy it to catch up.
And then there's another one coming out in January made by a female director called 28 Years Later, Bone Palace. Ooh. That I saw, like, it wasn't quite ready when we were at CinemaCon, but some of the shots that they showed, and they showed just like still photography from it, looked really cool.
Okay.
So I'm
excited about 28 Years Later because of the rig I saw with 28 iPhones lined up on a big tray that they were carrying. Like they're just shooting so much stuff from so many angles. I'm excited to see what they do.
Danny Boyle's like, that's what he did with the original one. So
it was like direct to video essentially filming on the original one. I
kind
think.
of.
Yeah.
It was released in theaters. I saw it at a drive-in.
Yeah. But I meant to say filmed on tape, not direct to video. That's on me.
I thought he shot that digitally. Like, I don't think he used film at all.
It was like one of the early like home consumer cameras you could film stuff like that on. I know that much, but I can't remember exactly what the camera was. But yeah, overall, look, I'm going to give it a bad because
I'm going to say my official is good, but it's a bad movie.
Okay, I'm giving it a bad from
a
technical standpoint. That's not one of the choices. You got to choose good or bad.
It's okay.
It's a frustrating system, Andy, but it is the system. And as Jesus said, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and you have 4 options to give to Caesar.
Of course, I bucked the system, so I'm not going with it.
You don't have the earrings anymore. You got to choose. Yeah, it's a technically bad movie. It's good as a watch if you're like just whatever, It's one of those whatever movies. It's fine. But I have to give it a bad from a self-respect standpoint.
Understood.
All right, so we're going to get into the news, but real quick, I do need to address something from last week.
Okay.
So I need to issue an apology. Not to you necessarily. Unless you think
to my family.
Maybe
since you drove them all out of my house, you scared everybody. Like I was starting to like hide knives, like while we were recording last week.
Well, I want to apologize because I was very, very critical and harsh of Lilo and Stitch. And I'd like to say I'm sorry because I still did not go hard enough on that stupid, awful movie. No, okay. No, I'm joking. But I do want to say that I said some things that if the director was standing there, I wouldn't have said to his face. And I want to apologize for that. No, not in the same way. I stand by the criticisms I have of the pacing, the choice to not have Gantu, all of that.
I wanted you to say something like that with Uwe Boll sitting next to us.
No, he'd knock me out.
No, that's.
I stand
I'm
by
sure
my.
He would actually probably be able to come on our podcast if we invited him.
Maybe
I'm sure.
So. I'll just tell him I don't like something he made. He'll be like, "I'm coming from the German town to beat you up," and I'll be like, "All right, but I'm gonna have a microphone." I went Austrian instead of German there.
So you're apologizing for the fact that you weren't harsh enough on that movie?
No, I'm actually apologizing for not my criticisms, which I think are legitimate, and I stand by those, but for calling him a coward and those things. The thing that's hard about doing a show like this is you want to be entertaining, right? You want to you amp it up because that's more likely to get people to be like, "Whoa, hold on, let me share this with someone."
It almost sounds like you had like 3 energy drinks before you.
I did have an Adderall that day, so that might have helped.
Okay, that explains a little bit.
Look, I did feel very, very strongly about seeing something that I very much love from my perspective, butchered with no respect for the choice cuts of the pig it's butchering. And I think that there are some really legitimate issues with the changes they made to that movie that undercut the emotional weight, the message of the film that it was adapted from, and also take a lot of the fun out of it. And Zach Galifianakis is the wrong person for Jumba. I stand by those.
The more I thought about that comment, and I was kind of against you initially on that, and looking at like bits and pieces of that again, and watching the original animated one again. Mm-hmm. You're definitely right. I side more with you now than when we recorded that because, I really wanted maybe they should have just had David Harbour do that because he would probably
David Harbour would have been great.
He would have been awesome for that. Yeah. But he was shooting Thunderbolts at the time.
That's true. Yeah.
But he wasn't in Thunderbolts all that much. He could have made time in his schedule.
He's all I remember from that movie. For me, he is Thunderbolts.
He would have right. No, and I agree. He would have been the right choice for that role, not Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah. And the reason I want to apologize though is because some of the things I said were trying to be in jest. I was hoping to be entertaining. As much as I felt what I felt, I also was trying to amp it up to be funny.
Yeah.
And if it didn't come across that way and that wasn't clear, I apologize for anything I said that was too harsh and too much of a personal attack on someone who worked very hard to make a movie come to fruition. That's very difficult to do. And so if you've sent the director that, God forbid, also send him this, my apology. I'm sorry. I stand by my criticisms, but they are not of you. They are of the piece of work itself.
It's still funny that initially this was Lilo and Stitch, the live action, was supposed to go to Disney Plus.
That became very apparent about halfway through the movie. I was like, wait a second.
Right.
Yeah.
But
which would explain maybe why they couldn't do Gantu.
From a business standpoint, I'm glad they didn't.
Oh yeah, no. Disney's raking in the money on like Lilo and Stitch is kicking Karate Kid Legends' butt. Which is ironic given the fact that Karate Kid's more about kicking. Oh, also I should point out the dragon kick was awesome. That was really cool.
It was.
I love the dragon kick.
It was.
Oh, I do have one more note about Karate Kid Legends, if you'll indulge me.
Sure.
I think that the 5 boroughs thing, they were rushing through it, it felt like a little bit. And I was like, does this mean the final fight's going to be on the streets? Because that would be a great twist. And they didn't do that. And I was very disappointed because I think that the fact that his brother died after a fight, the greatest challenge you could put him in is getting ganged up on after winning the tournament by these other guys and not allowing himself to be killed in the same way.
I thought the angle they should have gone with for that final fight was a subway tunnel. So he kind of really has that double, negativity thing in his head from how his brother died. And now he has to fight with all that around him in the subway chamber.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a little more effective and it would have been a little more emotionally wrenching.
Especially if he had gotten ganged up on by the debt collectors earlier and lost that fight a little harder.
Right.
Then it would have been like, this is a challenge for everything we've established for this character, emotionally, physically, all of it. And to do something like that and for him to win and then honk the guy's nose instead of punching through his head, that would have had so much more emotional weight and would have been so much more satisfying.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
In script writing, the main thing that you want to do with your ending is it should be both entirely surprising but completely inevitable. It should be like, oh, duh, of course that's where it ends. But also, wait, we're not going to end this with the Five Boroughs fight. We're going to go beyond that. Oh, surprise! That's
well.
That
and then
there
was the secret scene that wasn't really a secret scene.
William Zabka, sit down. Come back when there's a real role for you. Anyway,
there isn't. That's the whole problem.
Yeah, I don't know how Cobra Kai ends, but anyway,
I don't either. I haven't seen the last part of it yet either.
I feel better though. I got that off my chest. Lilo and Stitch is still a travesty as a film, but the director did not deserve me being mean to him. All right, let's get into news. News. First off, I want to start off with this article I got from Variety. Everything after this will be from Joe Blow News. But I want to start off with this Variety article.
Variety is a little bit more notable, actually.
Yes, that's why I choose Joe Blow, because we're idiots and so should our sources be. But real life supervillain, at least if you go by his name, David Zaslav, was denied his $52 million pay package in a, quote, symbolic rebuke. So he's the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery. And at the annual stockholders meeting held on June 2nd, investors voted down a non-binding advisory measure to approve the 2024 compensation packages of Zaslav and the company's other named executive officers, according to an SEC filing. Such a measure is referred to as a say-on-pay vote, designed to give shareholders a voice in expressing their approval or disapproval of executive compensation. So basically, everyone who's on the board of Warner Brothers went, "You're bad, and I'm going to take your money." And that's what happened. And I think that's very, very funny.
And now to find out where the money from Horizons went. That's the next court case.
Probably into the hands of someone at Netflix just for fun. It's probably what's his name?
Well, Costner's like looking to get. He sued them.
There's just somebody let Horizons finish so I can know what happened in that montage. It was 12 minutes long, and I don't know any of it, what it was connected to.
I think if you actually saw the second part of that, you still wouldn't figure it out.
Yes, but maybe if I saw parts 3 and 4 as well.
Now
and the spinoffs.
I don't have that much time.
No one does. We'll all die before that movie gets finished. Octavia Spencer. What are your opinions on Octavia Spencer?
I like her.
Okay. Do you like that movie Ma?
No.
So you don't want a sequel?
No.
I'm going to have to go ahead and make a call to Blumhouse then, because they are planning that. But I'm going to try to protect you from this.
I thought that film was crap. Most of Blumhouse's stuff is crap, actually.
Yeah, actually. So, described as a darkly funny revenge story, Ma was directed by Tate Taylor, who previously directed The Help. So got an Oscar win for that, and then directed this. So they're talking about doing a sequel. Jason Blum, the founder and CEO of Blumhouse. Now, how would you guess that? Had this to say about the Ma sequel. Ma has proven to be a social phenomenon since its release in 2019, with fans eagerly embracing the film and Octavia's iconic performance as Ma. Ma likes to say, "Don't make me drink alone." So we're thrilled Octavia will join us again for a second round.
Well, it's not the first horror film. Like, she was in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Was she really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And she gets killed. But
isn't Rob Zombie the guy who has like the swirly guitar? And like he plays. I know Rob Zombie directs stuff, but wasn't he also in like Guitar Hero as a guitarist? Did he play in a band?
Well, he has his own band. The White Zombie was the first band. Now he went off on his own.
That's what I'm thinking.
And his guitar player was John Five, who was with Marilyn Manson.
Wait, the little guy from the movie?
No,
who needed to get energy or whatever?
No,
is that Johnny Five?
Oh,
it was a great reference. I can't remember the name.
You're thinking of Short Circuit.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. No, that's not. John Five is a guitar player. He left Rob's band recently and replaced by Rob's original guitar player when he first started out as a solo career. So I like Rob Zombie's films for the most part, except for one. There's one that it's just too weird and creepy and disturbing even for me.
Andy, that is the most disturbing thing I can think of.
And it's the Lords of Salem. And funny story about that, like it was one year when I was at it in CinemaCon, and I went to a Thursday night midnight showing in Vegas and had like the most rowdiest audience I think I've ever been with. And they were all like dedicated fans. And I was like, cool, I'm in good company. And halfway there were people throwing stuff at the screen
because it was bad.
Because the story doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it's a lot of full frontal old woman female nudity that doesn't need to be done.
I see enough of that looking in the mirror. I don't need to see it on screen too. I know that doesn't make sense, but I'm disgusted by myself. I don't want to see other people naked too.
I like both the Halloween films that he did. I like, House of a Thousand Corpses. I thought was really cool. You'll hate it because it's very much in the vein of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, and that it has no story and no point in existing, but just it makes you think scary, spooky things.
Yes.
Yeah, awful.
And I like Devil's Rejects. I like Three from Hell. That's all the three movies tied together. I wish some of the other stuff that he was supposed to do at some point actually came to life. Like he has a script, or he did at one point for a Crow film.
Oh, really?
That I would have liked to have seen much more than the one that we saw last year.
I've erased that from my memory entirely.
But then he was supposed to do a film about like the 1970s Philadelphia Flyers. That sounded like a really cool project because they were a lot of goons at the time. Like they were known for fist fighting on ice more than anything.
So you just mean hockey players,
right?
Yeah.
And then there was one that he had the comic book rights to called The Nail. That was the film title. I think was Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it was supposed to be Danny Trejo in it. But the problem was. The bad Nicolas Cage film Drive Angry was very similar to the story of The Nail that I don't know if anybody had like lawsuits or anything, but reading that comic book and knowing that, and then I actually saw Drive Angry.
You're the only one.
Probably.
No one likes that movie because it's bad.
It was like 99 cents on Amazon at one point to buy.
What a ripoff.
But yeah, I dig what Rob Zombie does, musically and for filmmaking.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar that much with his filmography. I just remember seeing like Rob Zombie on the back of or it was someone else on the back of a Guitar Hero box with like a guitar a guitar that had a like one of those swirly black and white patterns that they use for hypnosis or whatever.
No, that's Zakk Wylde.
That is Zakk Wylde. You're right. I'm wrong.
Yes.
I'll never admit that again. If there's one thing I've learned from being married, it's that you never admit when you're wrong.
Aren't you glad that you have me for like music and movies? I can point all these things out.
You're like a living encyclopedia who also makes fun of
crap.
me. So the director of Megan is moving on to another movie about dolls, I guess. Do you know anything about Monster High?
I know it's those little like goth dolls pretty much that they have a really big following.
They do. They have a huge
so they're
following.
doing that as a movie now?
Yes. So the live action film is being produced by Akiva Goldsman, weirdly enough, under his banner Weed Road. Mature, and will feature an original story. Robbie Brenner, who's also producing the film, president and chief content officer at Mattel Studios, provided the following statement saying...
Mattel Studios.
Yeah, Mattel Studios. Can't wait for that Whack-A-Mole movie. He said, Gerard's unique vision, because the director, is Gerard Johnstone, which is a hard name to say 10 times fast. Gerard's unique vision and genre-blending style make him perfect fit for this film. This is exactly what we're building at Mattel Studios as we continue to work with top talent to tell fresh, unexpected stories from our blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Goldsman had this to say: Monster High is delightfully personal to me. My daughters grew up loving the dolls and what they represent. Gerard's work is sharp, daring, and full of heart. He's exactly the director this film needs. And I can't wait to see a Monster High film aimed towards children, directed by the guy who did Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping.
And The Naked Gun coming out later this summer.
Yeah. That's such a weird...
Pop Star I never saw. It just looked too stupid even for me.
It is stupid, but it also has... And I literally can't quote it on this show, but it does have a song that makes me laugh so hard I farted. I tarted.
You gotta that second trailer I put on Karate Kid for Naked Gun to just make it looks even better.
It also makes it look so much worse, but like in the way that I'm like, I want to see how bad you can screw this all up. Like, sure, great, it's fine.
But it was reported David Zucker has already seen it and he absolutely hated it.
Yeah, which means I need to adjust my expectations because I love the Zucker films. But
me too.
So we talked about that lawsuit that's going on with Horizons.
Yes.
But there's another lawsuit that, you brought up the lawsuit for Drive Angry and similarities in script, and we talked about the similarities between Together and another movie a while back.
Yeah, Body...
whatever.
Body something.
Yeah, this isn't about that at all. This is just a completely different thing.
Is this the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively?
Yes, it is.
I had that guess.
I don't know why
because I saw that this morning and I was like, Garrett's going to get this one.
Oh, absolutely. So the judge has apparently dismissed Blake Lively's claims of emotional distress.
Yep.
So as stated by the presiding judge, Lively's requests that because the parties have agreed to dismiss Miss Lively's 10th and 11th causes of action, the court exercise its inherent authority and authority under Rule 15 to dismiss them all without prejudice is denied without prejudice to renewal. The parties shall stipulate to whether the dismissal is with or without prejudice, or Lively shall renew her request by formal motion. I don't speak legalese, so that mostly, as I said it, sounded like Chinese to me. But basically... The court said nah, and then Lively's lawyers said Miss Lively has offered to dismiss those claims because they are no longer necessary. That's redirecting, and will continue to pursue emotional distress damages through other claims in her lawsuit, including sexual harassment and retaliation.
Well, the problem with that is you lose this one, you have very little faith of winning anything else,
right? Yeah,
because now the judge has set a precedent that your emotional distress thing is null and void.
Yeah.
So if you go out, you keep beating a dead horse at that point by, I'm going after sexual harassment claims. Nope. The judge is going to be like,
if there's sexual harassment, you'd probably have emotional distress. I should know. I'm objectified all the time.
I mean, I can't. I can't speak to what happened on that set. I wasn't there, and it's bad enough I had to sit through that film, which is enough torture for me. God, probably the behind-the-scenes stuff was much more interesting than the actual film was.
Oh yeah, I'd love. I'll read the tell-all book that comes out after this, written by a third party. That would be great.
Or the 2020 documentary that'll be on Hulu.
I can't wait for Netflix to do a 16-part documentary that could have been 3 parts.
And I'm sorry to Jessica, my daughter, that absolutely loved that movie and loved the books. You know, that's great. It just was not for me. And it was, I don't know how the film ended. I fell asleep, and I don't care how it ended.
It ended with a nice nap, and I think that's beautiful.
That's the best thing I could say about it.
That's really nice. I'm happy for you. Sleep is important, Eddie.
But the other Colleen Hoover stuff coming out, there's another one coming out later this year that just wrapped filming called Regret You. Actually sounds pretty good. And then the one that's coming out next year, Verite, actually looks decent, and it looks dark and disturbing, and I'm all in.
You would.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, after all this stuff, sorry, I have other news stuff to get to too. So
sorry.
No, it's okay. I love it. I love it. I just have to I have to judge when to move on, and I'm bad at it. So now, I guess.
Okay.
But in their own statement, the team of Baldoni, who co-founded Wayfarer Studios, said in part, Miss Lively wants to simultaneously A, refuse to disclose the information and documents needed to disprove that she suffered any emotional distress and or that Wayfarer parties were the cause, and B, maintain the right to refile her IED claims at an unknown time in this or some other court after the discovery window is closed. So they're basically like, she wants to not prove anything and leave an open window for her to jump out of and scream, "I pushed me!" at any time, and that's not cool. And I agree with that.
Her career's in the toilet after this thing.
But is it? Because
I think so.
If this doesn't kill it, I hope that Another Simple Favor does, because that movie was a tragedy.
What, the first one?
The second one.
Oh, you actually watched the second one?
No, I watched a truncated version of it.
Oh, okay.
And
that was probably better than the actual version.
Just dumb garbage.
Just first one's actually not that bad.
I don't care for it, but I didn't hate it.
I like Anna Kendrick, so it's kind of... Yeah. The second one, my whole thing was why?
That is not a question that's answered by the movie.
Figures.
Did you like the Boondock Saints movies?
I did.
You did?
I didn't see the second one.
Okay.
I've always wanted to, and I still do because Billy Connolly's in that, and I love him.
Yeah.
But the first one, we played that here. The first one for the anniversary.
Oh, that's right.
And it actually did really well.
Did it?
And everybody looked at me going, wow, your film nerdness actually paid off for the business sense for once. And I was like...
You're like, hey, I let Twisters play. All right, give me a break.
No, because the Boondock Saints is a cool movie. It's really quirky and off the wall. And it has William Dafoe in it, too.
Yeah.
But the Avenging Angels aspect to that is really cool to me, and I do like the first one a lot.
Well, it may be time to catch up on the second one because the third one is on its way.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, so Norman Reedus confirmed that it's coming. He said,
"Is Sean Patrick Flannery going to be in this one too?"
Good question. I'm trying to find that in the article while I talk.
He's the other guy.
Let's see. I don't know. Let's read what Norman Reedus has to say about it. He said, "Yeah, it's a bigger one. I mean, we did that first one for $7 million, I think, and it made so much money, but it never went to theaters because of the Columbine shooting. Nobody would touch it. So Troy, the director, he rented out 2 theaters just to show it to the crew. The rumor was it only made 2 theaters, but they didn't even sell tickets at those 2 theaters. He just rented out the theaters. Right. So the challenge is making a third with money, with that sort of energy, sort of indie energy to it. You know, right now we're finding that." So the first film was an exclusive at Blockbuster Video. Rita says, "I remember going into a Blockbuster. I was in California. There was one on Sunset and some crap east of Fairfax. I walked in and walls of Boondock Saints. And I was like, whoa!" The guy goes, "We rent out more Boondock Saints than Titanic." But yeah, this next one, they're not confirming any stuff yet about who will be in it. But Sean Patrick Flannery, I'm sure they'll get.
Like he's doing anything else,
right? Yeah,
he did that one film that I saw recently, Nefarious, that was actually pretty cool.
I did not see that one.
Kind of a religious, spooky movie, and it wasn't bad.
Okay,
it was interesting. I really did like the take on it.
Religious how?
It was supposed to be a guy that was interviewing a guy on death row. And the whole challenge was the guy on death row said to the interviewer that, well, before you leave here, I will make you question everything you believe and go back on yourself.
That sounds okay. I know what you're talking about. And
Sean Patrick Flannery is the guy on death row.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was him.
Yeah, he doesn't look the same now as he did when he did Boondock Saints, but
time comes for us all.
It's an interesting film, Mike.
Okay, I may have to check that out.
Yeah, you might actually like that one.
Do you like Guillermo del Toro's stuff?
Love it. I can't wait for the Frankenstein thing.
Okay, so have you seen the trailer for it? Because I still haven't watched the trailer,
yet,
but it is out.
I really have been kind of staying away from seeing stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I want to wait until I can see the entire thing.
Yeah. The teaser trailer is out, so just know that's out there.
But
and
it's
running
a straight
around.
to Netflix thing. I'm kind of disappointed with that.
Oh, is it really?
I think so.
Oh.
Or I thought it was.
I
could be wrong.
Set up at the Netflix streaming service. Movie set to be released in November.
That's something that that should be on a big screen.
I'm tell you what, man. We can bring that Apple TV up here. It's coming out there. I don't know if they'll do a limited Because sometimes they'll do a limited release.
They probably will, but
they have Del Toro, so it's like it's possible it could get an Oscar nom, which would be a big deal for them.
Is kind of slim because I know like Glass Onion got a limited release before they put it on Netflix. And the only theater that I knew that got it was AMC Barton Creek. And then I was working at Lakeline at the time, and everybody came over to Lakeline. We have tickets for this. I'm like, yeah, you're at the wrong theater, stupid.
Read the ticket.
Right. Well, no, the worst was people showing up there that thought that we were Alamo Drafthouse that was down the road. And I'm like, do you see Alamo Drafthouse anywhere? Big AMC, red letters above the concession
I'm telling you, the American education system is failing us.
Yes, we know
People can't read. So Del Toro, he was speaking with Variety, I believe. He said, somebody asked me the other day, does this Frankenstein have really scary scenes? For the first time, I considered that. It's an emotional story for me. It's personal as anything. I'm asking a question about being a father, being a son. I'm not doing a horror movie, ever. I'm not trying to do that. And then while speaking with the Hollywood Reporter, Mia Goth was asked what the movie is if it's not a horror movie. She said, it's an incredibly epic film. I've never been a part of something so big and so grand. But it's also incredibly emotional and deeply personal. You know, it's a story that's been a part of Guillermo's life since he was a boy. So I definitely think people will be pleasantly surprised by how much heart there is in this movie. What sets it apart from the other Frankenstein movies? Well, she says the heart and how deeply personal it is. Guillermo has tethered this story to his own experiences and just made it a deeply personal story. So, hopefully there is less bestiality in this than his last Oscar-winning film. I still have not... The
Shape of Water.
I still have not seen Grinding Nemo, and I don't think I have to.
No, actually...
I just wanted to say Grinding Nemo because it's
Ben
Shapiro's best joke he's ever done.
I really like The Shape of Water. I was very surprised when it won. Because in all intents and purposes, it's kind of a horror film. It's definitely a monster movie.
Yeah. Guillermo del Toro he does inject enough heart into his stuff, though, that it connects.
And The Shape of Water definitely has that.
Yeah.
Like, there is a romance to, monsters and the mayhem in it.
Sure, yeah. And it also says something about the fact that women will pick literally anything over a guy. They'll pick a fish, they'll pick a bear. That's an internet joke. If you missed that, did you not see the whole trend where people are like, would you rather choose to be alone in a room with a man or alone in the woods with a bear? And everyone was like, we picked the bear because men are awful. And I'm like, no, jerks are awful.
But like, Guillermo del Toro, the other body of work, like I love Pacific Rim, the first one, not really that good. Second one.
The second one is annoying.
Yeah, that's an understatement. But definitely the Spanish speaking stuff that he did, Pan's Labyrinth, always makes me cry. It is a classic movie.
Yeah.
The Devil's Backbone. That's one that a lot of people might not know about, and it's set in once again Spanish War in an orphanage. Which, he loves to do that stuff with like ghost children walking around. Mm-hmm. It is a great, fantastic thriller. Huh. And even if you don't like horror films, it's just such a wonderfully put together film. And like when he got famous, I really was congratulatory of him that he made like this big success.
Yeah.
And I just love the work that he does.
He's a very good director. I can't take that from him. Whether or not I want to see a woman fall in love with a fish monster is disconnected from my...
You really should give it a shot. There's more to it than that. And Michael Shannon's in it, too.
I also don't like Michael Shannon.
Oh, really?
I think he's a good actor, but I can't... Again, there's those people who are really abrasive. Like, they're not having a conversation with anyone. They're just calling people idiots all the time. Now... The irony of that coming out of my mouth, I know, is incredible. but yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll see it when it comes out, and maybe we'll do a screening for ourselves here.
That'd be nice.
That'd be fun.
I'm curious, what it's going to lead into. I know Warner Brothers has pushed it around. I think it comes out at the end of March next year. Is Maggie Gyllenhaal's Bride? Which is like the Bride of Frankenstein.
Is that still happening?
Oh, yeah, it's done.
Okay.
It was supposed to come out September, early October this year. And then we went to CinemaCon. Next thing we knew, it's coming out next March.
But is this completely disconnected from the Guillermo del Toro
one,
right?
It is.
This is like Dark Universe trying to happen again?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
This is more of like a punk-based version of like Bride of Frankenstein with Christian Bale. And I can't remember the woman for the life of me, but it was somebody I liked. And the stuff that I saw in Vegas was pretty cool for it. The problem is I think I'm the only person that'll watch it and appreciate it. And I would love to tell Maggie Gyllenhaal, please come and talk to me about this movie because I would love to sit down. I have a whole bunch of questions.
And we have a third microphone, so we can make this happen.
I really like her as an actress, too.
Annette Bening? Was that who you're thinking of?
No.
Jessie Buckley as the bride?
Jessie, yes, that's it. I really like she did a British film I saw earlier this year with Jessica that both of us really like called Dirty Little Letters. And it's based on a true story about Olivia Colman's in it too, about a woman that tried to destroy another woman by making these slanderous letters in like turn of the century.
Oh.
And she was arrested for it.
What was it called again?
Dirty Little Letters, I think.
Oh, Wicked Little Letters.
Wicked Little Letters.
I was looking for it on the list of her IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want to check that out. That sounds really interesting.
I think it's on Netflix.
Okay. Cool.
It's definitely worth your time. Really, really interesting story.
All right. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
It's
right
good.
now that sounds like exactly the kind of thing I want to watch. That's really weird.
Women stabbing each other in the back.
I think it's just because I want to appreciate the fact that all the guys I know don't care enough about me to try and stab me in the back.
I don't.
It's like, exactly. See?
I just call you an idiot to your face.
That's what's great about being a guy. We're going to walk up and be like, I hate you. Yeah, I hate you too. You suck. Want to go get some ice cream? Yeah, sure, whatever.
Sure. See you next week.
I'd get beer with you, but I don't drink. So there was a quote that was given out from a publication called Courier, Kurier, and it's an Austrian publication who said that they got an interview with Clint Eastwood, which he doesn't do a lot. Who
turned 95 the other day.
95, yeah. He said in the article, it quotes him saying, I long for the good old days when screenwriters wrote movies like Casablanca and Small Bungalows on the studio lot, when everyone had a new idea. We live in an era of remakes and franchises. I've shot sequels 3 times, but I haven't been interested in that for a long while. My philosophy is do something new or stay at home. That was the quote. According to Deadline, though, Clint Eastwood replied to this and said, a couple of items about me have recently shown up in the news. I thought I would set the record straight. I can confirm I've turned 95. I can also confirm that I never gave an interview to Austrian publication called Courier or any other writer in recent weeks, and the interview is entirely phony. And then he shut the car trunk and shot 4 shots out of a Magnum revolver into the reporter that lied. So if you've seen that floating around, it's fake. Anora director Sean Baker is working on his next project, says, don't expect a Marvel film.
Good. I don't want him to do a Marvel film.
Yeah. He said it's not going to happen. I'm intentionally going to stay in the same wheelhouse and with the approximate same budget. I think that I enjoy working in the space of 100% independent. I'm not working for even a mini studio. I'm making my film independently and then going the old school route of hopefully a bidding war or somebody licensing the movie. I think that's the only way to have full autonomy and control over your vision. So it'll be that. Expect more of the same.
Who are we kidding? Neon Pictures will pick that up again in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, he knows. Like he'll be fine.
I'm surprised that he just didn't like ink a deal with them.
But that's what he's saying though, is like even with them, I'm not going to go into a contract because I want to make what I want to make, and then if they want it, they can buy it. But if they don't want it,
Neon doesn't
I don't want them to tell me
the
not to put it
studio
in.
though that will interfere with like what if I mean
well, no,
if
they won't even make you get a good prosthetic leg to throw at your lead actor. You can throw anything.
If they didn't interfere with Together,
yeah,
which seems to be
But you know what? That's the thing is that companies start that way, but then as more money gets on the line or they go public, it starts to get a little more muddy. And I agree with him. Like I don't get to do a lot of stuff because I'm poor.
I really don't hope. I hope they don't go that route. I really don't.
I think you'll have a long run of it not being that way, and then one day everyone will wake up and go, "Why are they different now?"
I think A24 has more of a chance of that happening to them than Neon does.
Yeah, for sure. For now. That's what everyone said about A24. When they were still
just
whatever
doing horror
other
films.
Thing. Yeah, I mean, it just happens as things grow. Bureaucracy enters, and there's no way around it. And so I respect his idea of nope, I'm going to fund it myself, and I'm going to do what I want to do, so that I can't have that muddled with all the people who are higher up. And
and then they can buy it if they want it, and hopefully I make something good enough that they want it. It's riskier for your career, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like I don't work under any other studio. I could have gotten jobs at multiple places up in Dallas that I went and interviewed with, and I had some job offers, and it was just like, at the end of the day, though, I don't want to be told what I can and cannot make. So I'm independent. Now, I'm still poor, so I haven't done anything with that, but I have the freedom to. So, yeah, but that's good. Jonathan Joss, who is a actor who he played John Redcorn in King of the Hill, and he
passed away.
He didn't just pass away; he was shot.
Yeah.
So according to the San Antonio Police Department, he was found near the roadway of the location. So he was reportedly shot and killed by a neighbor after a heated argument. The suspect, 56-year-old Sigfrido Alvarez, CEJA, I'm going to say Ceja, fled the scene, but has since been apprehended and charged with murder. So, yeah. So that sucks. But all right, Jaws at 50 documentary starts streaming in July on Disney Plus and Hulu. Just wanted to remind everyone of that. Very excited.
Yeah, July 11th. Yeah.
Predator, Killer of Killers. Did you see the trailer for this? It's out. They just are like, it's out now.
I've told you about this for a couple of weeks now.
No, I know, but like they just kind of dropped the trailer without a couple of months lead up, and basically just said like, hey, in 2 weeks you can watch it. And
it comes out this week.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was 2 days ago they posted this. Time is totally.
I saw the trailer about 3 weeks ago, and I told you about it.
You did?
Yes.
Whoops.
It shows how much you listen to me.
I try to listen. I'm just dumb, and also a little bit forgetful.
It looks really cool.
It does look really cool. Yeah. So
because I'm even thinking about like watching that with Drew,
and it's a Dan Trachtenberg, so it'll be fun. So looking forward to that. The Penguin showrunner says there may be more spinoffs. I don't know if he said which characters. I don't care anymore. Whatever. Stranger Things Season 5 is getting a premiere date, so it looks like it will be released in 3 parts with Volume 1 on November 26th, Volume 2 on Christmas Day, and the series finale on New Year's Eve.
I still need to finish like the last season.
I love this show because of how it looks. Honestly, the cinematography is like everything that I want out of watching something, and I'm very excited for this. Even though there's so much about the series where I'm like, oh, Jesus probably isn't happy with this right now. So, you have some news.
I do. Just got the email about Superman.
Ooh.
So it's 2 hours and 9 minutes long.
Okay.
Tickets go on sale June 11th.
June 11th at GrandAvenueTheater.com, you said?
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure I heard you say that. It was GrandAvenueTheater.com.
Yes.
You can go to www.GrandAvenueTheater.com to buy tickets for Superman as of June 11th, 2025 at GrandAvenueTheater.com, which is the only place you should go to get movie tickets. Is that correct?
Yeah, not Fandango. Stay away from them.
Okay, and what was the address again?
GrandAvenueTheater.com, just as you can do for such titles as How to Train Your Dragon or Ballerina this week, which pre-sales for that are not good.
No.
And then the week after How to Train Your Dragon, we have Elio and 28 Years Later. Week after that, right now, F1 Megan 2.0 is still a little bit up in the air.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Yeah, not sure if we're going to have the room for it, and we better because I have merch for it.
I really want to see it.
Yeah, I know you do. It might be like in Theater 6 opening weekend.
No.
And then week after that is Jurassic World Rebirth or Reborn.
I just want to point out that you've fallen for the classic trick, Andy.
What's that?
I've made you do a shameless plug. This time, it's on you.
Well, giving everybody the release schedule is not a bad thing either, whether it's my theater or not.
Sure, but you rolled right into it from me saying, what was the address again? And you said it, and then you said where you can also find titles such as da da da.
Yes.
That's an advertisement. I'm sorry, but you did an ad.
Well,
and it was shameless.
We're pretty much getting sponsored by them anyway, so.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted it to not be my fault this year. Or this episode.
What, not like GeForce 2?
Dadgummit! You stole it from me.
Yes.
Someday we will get G-Force 2. I will make it happen.
I don't think so.
Well, look, here's the thing, though, is like Disney doesn't want to hire me for any of the projects that I really, really do care about, like Lilo and Stitch, which I would have made much better. But they might give me the rights to G-Force, which is a property they've completely abandoned. And if they do, I will make the best G-Force 2 you can imagine. Sam Rockwell, I'm going to have him dance as a little gerbil forever. Guinea pig, whatever.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Debicki, who was the kind of the lead female role in Tenet and has been in other stuff, is joining Scott Caan in the David Fincher sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And that's a weird collection of names to put together in that sentence.
So they're making a sequel to Tarantino's film?
Yes, and
Why?
It's David Fincher. And
it is, but what is it going to be?
I have no idea. That's the thing. It's not known who they'll play in the sequel. As one source said, the project is, quote, more secretive than Star Wars. So they are really keeping this under wraps, probably because someone leaked the entirety of the Hateful Eight, and now
or more than a Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah, like
although. Honestly, like leaking anything about the Odyssey, if you don't know the story of the Odyssey, go read a book. Please.
Probably the Odyssey. That's the book you should read.
I still say that's why League of Extraordinary Gentlemen didn't do well. Like, I like that movie. I do.
Yeah, it's got its problems, but it's so charming.
It is. But the reason it failed, people don't read.
That's true.
It's all literary characters in that entire story put together, and it's just awesome.
Dorian Gray, like that was my first kind of exposure to that character. Alan Quartermain. Man, it's got so many. Good.
The bad guy in that is Moriarty,
right? Yeah, okay, why not? Yeah,
right.
And then the Invisible Man effects are still like, whoa.
That's a film really that. Honestly, if you're going to reboot something, do that one.
Yeah, and bring Sean Connery back. Bring him back from the grave.
Just as long as they're not going to do Highlander 2 again.
Yeah. So the project for this sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was from Quentin Tarantino's scrapped script for what would have been his 10th and final movie. We'll see.
Right.
Pitt was very interested in his character's part and asked Tarantino if he would let someone else take the helm of the project. The director responded that it would depend on who he had in mind, and that's when they thought of David Fincher. So he got Tarantino's blessing, and now it's happening, which means we'll never see another season of Mindhunter, and I cannot forgive Netflix for that.
That's Mindflix's fault. Or
Mindflix.
Netflix.
Nethunter. My favorite show.
I still haven't seen that.
It's really good. Oh, it's so good. It's really good.
Okay.
Ariana Grande is joining Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro for Meet the Parents 4.
Why?
I don't know, but I do love the first one.
I like the first one. The rest of them, no.
I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? It's a great line. It's delivered straightforward by Robert De Niro.
Jessica will hit me when I get, like, as soon as she hears this and, like, how much I hate those films. Especially like the last one had the worst title because every stupid moron coming up the box office, oh, little fuckers, shut up, you idiot. If I had to hear that one more time, I'm like, it's sold out. I don't even care if it isn't. Like, I'm not saying just
like, but we just snuck out of there and it's completely empty. Yeah, no, sold out. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Also, you snuck in?
Just like, I got you interested in watching the Ocean's films, which I love. Mm-hmm. And we started off actually number 3. And because it was the easiest to get through without explaining a whole lot to him and told him it was con artists and thieves and he was definitely in. Yeah. So you like the one part where the guy reviewing the hotel goes to the Chinese place.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna walk in. Oh, we're fully booked. And the place is completely empty. And he's sitting there like playing solitaire on his reservation computer.
That's just a wonderful trilogy. I love each.
Yeah,
like they're not perfect, but they are so much fun. Would you like to see another Final Destination movie?
No.
What if? Now, hold on for a second. What if Charlie XCX was the star in it with a bunch of other It girls?
No.
Me either. I don't like this idea, but Charlie XCX is like super gung-ho about it.
Who is he? I don't even know who the guy is.
She's a singer. I don't I don't know. The photo they've chosen just has her surrounded by older men and cleavage. She's not surrounded by cleavage.
Yeah, the problem is like
there.
she has no chest that she's pushing like everything together.
I don't know. I'm not in charge of her social media posts, but
not interested.
So she said, I'm rewatching all the Final Destination movies in preparation to see Bloodlines. The reason I love these movies is that they really just are about hot people getting killed. So, and then she pitched herself as the lead. I don't care who you are. That's narcissism. You know?
No, really?
Yeah.
I couldn't figure that out.
Well, why? It was fairly obvious.
Yeah, I know.
Why couldn't you figure it out? See, I flipped it on you. But yeah, she says, why don't we get Rachel Sennott, Alex Consani, Gabriette, Romy Mars, me, Quenlin Blackwell, Devin Lee Carlson. Maybe there's a screen queen in there like Jenna Ortega. Maybe there's an OG screen queen like Sissy Spacek. And it's directed by like a horror auteur. I don't know how this made the news. She's just spitballing. But anyway, would you like to see a Rush Hour 4 instead?
No.
Moving on.
Jackie Chan has come out and said that now is the right time to make it. And the reason that number 3 failed is that it had too big of a budget.
Yes, that's what he said.
That wasn't the problem with Rush Hour 3. The problem with Rush Hour 3 was bad writing and a stupid story.
That normally comes with money for some reason.
Right.
Have you noticed that? The more money they get, the worse the writing is. How does that keep happening?
Like, honestly, those are bad movies, too. Like, the first one's a bad movie.
Yeah.
But it's likable enough because you like Jackie Chan. And Chris Tucker at the time was not completely annoying like he is now. And
I've never liked Chris Tucker's performance in literally anything I've seen him.
Have you ever seen Silver Linings Playbook?
Yes.
I think that's the best thing he's ever done.
I forgot he was in that.
But that's the best thing that he's done.
Yeah, because he didn't stick in your brain going, shut up, Chris Tucker.
Right. But out of the Rush Hour films, the second one is the one I like the most. The third one is awful.
Yeah, I wasn't hot on any of them, but the third one was definitely the worst one.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Paris?
Yes.
Yeah. Ugh. Oh, goodness.
The best part of that was the part with the nun.
Yes.
That was the only good part to that movie. That was it.
All right. Well, that leads us to the end of the news, Andy.
So we're just about done?
I think that's just, unless you have anything else.
No, I think I'm tapped out for today.
Okay, cool. Well, if you enjoyed the episode, first off, if you got here, even if you hated it, thank you for listening. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Second, if you have an opinion on the Karate Kid Legends, you can always vote if you're listening on Spotify. Good, bad, great, or terrible are the only options. I know that Andy said it was okay, but he's breaking the rules, and we will be whipping him accordingly after the end of this recording. So
good luck with that.
I brought my whipping stick. Did you ever have to go get your own?
Switch?
Switch, yes.
When I was a kid?
Yeah, go get one off the Switch tree and bring it in here. You choose which one I'm going to spank you with. I did.
Nope.
I did.
I didn't.
And why did I not turn out better?
My dad just got the belt.
Oh, dude, I remember.
I ran underneath my bed the one time.
I'll never forget standing in the corner for 2 hours after I'd really, really, really messed up at home and waiting in the corner. And my dad came home from work, and all I heard was the belt go out of the belt loops, and then the pop. And I was like, oh no! And I got a whipping.
Kind of like how the first house party, how that ends.
First house party?
Yeah, remember the good house party, not that remake thing with LeBron. You never seen it?
No.
Okay, so it's not really that much of a spoiler. It ends like Kid from Kid and Play.
Oh, okay.
Been out all night. Tries to sneak back into the house, get into bed. He has halfway into the bed. Dad opens the door and you just hear that bell pop and he's you ain't done just
pop.
yet.
Yep.
And then all throughout the credits is him beaten. And he's it has all these great one-liners.
That's funny.
And he's and it's Robin Harris, who sadly passed away way too young. The guy was hilarious.
Oh, I don't know if I know his face.
He had kind of a heavy set.
Yeah, I know this guy.
Black guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He was really funny, and him being Pops in the first house party, that was That and Baby's Kids. I definitely like. It was sad that he didn't make it to the second one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Comedian gone way too soon.
Well, on that disappointing note, I'm afraid it is time to end.
Yes.
You can find us online at Grand Review Pod on Facebook and Instagram. And then, like I said, if you're listening on Spotify, vote Good, Bad, Great, or Terrible. What did you think about Karate Kid Legends? And then I guess
us know.
The other thing I'd like to say is that there's only one thing left to say, and that is we'll see you at the movies. Bye!
Take care, y'all.